Welcome back to K&L Farms. I'm Ken. I hope this video finds you well. And on some of my thumbnails and some of my descriptions I put, it's going to get cold. I got to change that to it is cold. Woke up this morning, it was 21 degrees. And so I'm trying to get some insulation in this corner. This corner of the garage is actually our wood shop. All the tools are out of the way, so I can actually put some insulation in the roof and some in the walls. And if you see the tools, some of the tools, if you'd like, go down in the description, take a look. It does help the channel out. So let's just cut some of this out. Plus, I've already got a couple measurements written down. I got a couple sheets up in there, and we're just going to work on getting some of that up. I'm waiting on the sheetrock lift in order to put some OSB on the inside after I get the insulation up. And I've seen some other content creators, they're putting tongue and groove pine in there, they're putting all sorts of products in, and this is all I can afford is just some OSB. I know it doesn't come out to be the best looking wall, but it'll do for us to actually get back to building Christmas presents. So let's get started. And I got a number, actually I measured it out already. And I could just get a sheet of that OSB and figure it out all the way, but I think that for this morning, as cold as it is, that's too involved. I set it on the ground, come up, and then I know that over the top, 9 inches, I know that that'll fit if it's got a block in there, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Let me cut this one so I don't forget what I'm doing. I'll cut this real quick, and then I'll show you what I mean. Okay, that one there. And let me get my tape measure so I can show you. Okay, so what I mean is, so far, all I've cut is ones with these hurricane blocks in. So I know that from there to there is 90 inches, but I don't know how far this is, and these are the ones I'm trying to get to. I just cut that one, and I'll install that one right now. Let me move this ladder. And then I'll show you something else that I did. But let me get this one up in here first. Okay, that's pretty good. Okay, also, see, I was cutting get my tape measure, show you again. I was cutting these pieces, though you probably can't see because of the light. I was cutting these pieces out from the start of a roll. Now I've got this much material left out of that roll, so instead of wasting the top end, because if I would have left those on, I probably would have got one full length of this area. Now I'll keep that to make those two areas, but the primary goal is trying to get that one and that one. And since I don't know the length of that yet, let's get a rough idea of what that length is, and then I could probably do the math. But at my age, it would probably take a while to do that. So let's just measure this right here and say 112. From now on, we're going to cut them 112. Well, 1, 2, 3, 4. We need 4. But I don't think that'll be a full roll. But let me get a roll here and get it out and get it going again. Oops, I got it backwards. I like it with the paper side up. Seems to cut better for me. Now some guys actually, they make like take a machete and use a machete, but I'm not going to get that involved. Okay, got the sheetrock lift in the garage. This is actually owned by the Homestead, but somebody else was borrowing it. That's why we had to retrieve it. Got it assembled, and I was going to tell you a couple things. One thing is this is 5/8, and the reason this is 5/8 thick is that we had this left over from another project. I had forgotten about it. It was actually in the back of a barn, and my son-in-law told me, well, utilize this stuff. Now we're going to put 7/16, and normally this would be a piece of 7/16, also a thin material, but I had this left over and I didn't want it to go to waste. But I own some 7/16 that for this project. It's here in the garage, and I'll use this lift to get it up because I can't pick this up. I can't pick this up, and I wouldn't be able to, no longer be able to put a piece of 7/16 up on the roof. But I got all the insulation in, got these two pieces in. I got that one up with the lift, and this one, I don't know if you'll be able to see it, but there's a ledger board. I call it a ledger board. And I just measured down from here, down 48, and of course I wouldn't be able to hold it up there, so I brought it over. I put one end on this ledger board, had the nail gun with me, and I flipped it up, took my knee, kind of wedged it around, and then shot a nail in one end, come sit this up, and shot a nail, because this was actually a little bit longer than 48. Just enough, it was like 48 and a 16th or something, or 48 and an 1/8, enough that I could get it on the ledger board, push it against the wall, and then get it up there. The other thing that most of the time, if you're doing external, these would have stripes in them, so that you can actually see where the 2x4 is, or the studs are. And we opted for the smoother of the two sides, because we're hoping that it will accept paint and look better than the other side. We didn't want those paint strips sticking out all the time. So that's where I've gotten so far today. Actually, I'll probably take this ledger board off and try and cut this. This is 2 feet from here. There's a lip where my foundation is. I kept it back. I offset this 2x6 about a ½ an inch with the intent of the time when I built it. And remember, I built this years ago, this building, and we're just getting to the point where we're insulating it. And there's about a ½ inch lip, and I just set that on that lip and then set it underneath here. I'll have to cut out this receptacle on this one sheet, and then 2 receptacles on the other sheet. And these 2 pieces, see how they're narrower? I probably handle those by hand. I don't know that, but I think I can actually handle those by hand. So I need this sheet, and then the bottom 2-foot sheet would be, it'll have 2 receptacles cut out of it.